I have this old Victrola. It's a PAF. The case is actually PAF, but after pulling it apart and looking at it, you can see it's got a French PAF written up there and on the hood. But inside it's made in the USA, so I'm questioning whether the innards are actually PAF or not. But it was working until recently, and then it started kind of clicking as it was playing. Like I had to back it up to get it to twist, and it kept catching. And so I just wanted to show you how to remove the top without having to take the innards off. I unscrewed these three and let it drop after taking the radio plate off, and then I unscrewed the 6 bolts that are holding it in. But now, knowing what I know, I would not remove the motor plates that hold the motor winding gear on, and just would have removed the 6 screws that hold it in. And then what happened was this little teeny screw right in here came undone and fell inside. And so this would catch on the speed mechanism. You can see that this mechanism controls the speed, fast to slow. And when that does it, when it's cranked, it spins this around. But when this came off, this would get caught on this little lever that regulates the speed, letting this move this way. So basically I just had to find a screw in the washer and screw it back on. While I had it off, I wanted to grease it up and make sure it's lubricated okay, so I just got some grease and put it in all of the moving fixtures and anywhere that I could that moved, and then I cranked it and let it go. So it's not wound up right now. Let's see. But once it started moving, the grease got in there and lubed it really well, and it's working really smoothly now, and it's very good. And now I'm going to put the whole thing back together again, but I just wanted to show you what the problem can be if you're trying to crank it and it gets caught. It was a simple fix, but if I had forced it, it would have probably broken this angling metal weight, and that wouldn't have been good for the whole product. So anyway, don't take off the mount screws, and just take off the way to pull it out. You're going to have to get it out. You're going to have to unscrew the crank, so just go against the cranks clockwise to crank it, just counterclockwise to take it off, and then it just unscrews off of here. And then you also need to remove the screws that hold the hat down, the lid down. So I removed these 3 screws, and then the 6 anchoring screws, and then the crank, and pulled it off. And then to put it back, basically same thing. You have to make sure that this is up above when you put it down in, so it doesn't get stuck. It can fall down in like that, and then you can't get it out. So make sure when you're putting it back in that that's up, and then slide it back in, and then make sure that the crank is lined up with the actual crank. Test it out before you screw it in. Make sure it's winding and playing and everything's good, and then you can bolt it back down with the 6 anchor screws, or how many ever you have on your unit. And then once you've got those anchor screws back in and the crank on, you can put the screws back on the lid hold, and then you should be good. But that is a way to grease and lubricate and repair if it's a simple fix like that. But anyway, you look at it, that's a way to get it off and to check out what may be wrong with it. Never over crank it, and if you need to, you can just twist the center to get it going when the crank is not on it. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can check out my blog, thesecretisgratitude.com, where I'll have a post about this, or just watch other videos I have on this on my YouTube channel, The Secret is Gratitude. Thanks for watching.